My insurance premium jumped. No warning, no explanation that made sense, just a higher number and a line that said updated risk factors. I stared at it longer than I should have because nothing about my driving had changed at all. Same routes, same habits, same car. What had changed was that my car seemed to know more about me than I realized. Last week, my dashboard app flashed a message about driving insights, and I dismissed it without much thought. Another notification, another feature I didn't ask for. It wasn't until that premium notice arrived that I connected the two. That's when it became clear this wasn't about reminders or safety tips. It was about scoring, quietly and automatically. Cars used to be straightforward machines. Steering wheel, pedals, gauges. Today, they're rolling data collectors with a steering column attached. Every modern vehicle sold in the US comes with sensors, connectivity, and an app that promises convenience and control. Remote start, vehicle health, location. What doesn't get advertised as loudly is that the same systems also record how you drive. Hard braking, rapid acceleration, sharp turns, speed relative to traffic, time of day. Phone interaction, all captured. These aren't guesses, they're logged events. The car doesn't care why you braked hard, it just records that you did. What feels unsettling is that none of this requires bad driving, just normal reactions to real roads. Swerving around a pothole, avoiding a car that stops short, accelerating to merge safely. The system doesn't understand context, it understands thresholds. Somewhere along the way, insurers realized they didn't need to ask how you drive anymore. They could just buy the answer. That's where the chain gets quiet. Automakers collect the data through built-in systems or companion apps. That data can be shared with third-party aggregators who specialize in compiling behavior into reports. Those aggregators compile reports. Insurers buy access. The result shows up months later as a premium change that feels random if you don't know the process exists. Most people don't, because the language is buried in screens nobody reads. Smart driver, usage-based, personalized rates, all clean words. None of them say plainly that your car is reporting on you. And this isn't about opting into some obvious program with a blinking disclaimer on the screen. Sometimes it's a toggle you left on when setting up the app. Sometimes it's a trial you forgot to cancel. Sometimes it's simply the default. The pressure point is that the feedback loop is silent from start to finish. You don't get a weekly scorecard warning you this will cost you later. You just get a higher bill. This isn't about panic. It's about understanding the system you're already part of. Once you see that, the jump stops feeling mysterious and starts feeling procedural. Let's pick up where the mystery usually starts. The premium goes up, and nothing about your driving feels different. Same routes, same habits, same car. That's the part that makes people suspicious, because increases used to come with a concrete reason. A ticket, a claim, something you could point at. This one arrives clean, polite, and unexplained. The missing piece is that the explanation didn't disappear. It moved upstream, away from the bill and into the systems watching quietly in the background. Most modern cars sold in the US now collect driving data by default, sometimes through built-in systems like OnStar or platforms like FordPass or Toyota apps. Sometimes through insurance apps you downloaded once and forgot about. Either way, events are logged. Hard braking, rapid acceleration, sharp turns, speed relative to traffic, time of day, phone interaction, route consistency. None of this requires bad driving. The system doesn't know context. It only knows thresholds, and when you cross one, it counts the event quietly. Those raw events don't usually go straight to your insurer. They take a quieter path through automakers and app providers who can share data with brokers like LexisNexis or Verisk, companies built to turn messy behavior into clean reports and scores. Insurers buy access to those reports. They don't install anything in your car or ask how you drive. They receive summaries about braking, timing, phone use, and patterns, and those summaries quietly feed pricing models you never see directly as consumers. What counts as hard isn't dramatic. It's deceleration beyond a set rate. The same logic applies to acceleration and cornering. These thresholds are tuned for scale across millions of drivers, not fairness for your specific commute or circumstances today routinely measured. The language stays clean: smart driver, usage-based, personalized rates. None of those phrases say your car is reporting on you, and this isn't always a clear opt-in. Sometimes it's a forgotten toggle, a trial, or a default setting quietly enabled. The pressure point is silence. There's no weekly notice or warning, no context. You don't see the score change. You just get the bill higher than before, and you're left to guess which drive or habit tipped it over time quietly. The adult move here isn't panic, it's audit. Under federal law, you can request your consumer report from LexisNexis. It's slow and unfriendly, but it shows what's collected, summarized, and shared about your driving behavior today by insurers indirectly often. You can also check enrollment in programs like Smart Driver, DriveWise, or Snapshot, and whether they're active or historical. Then review your car app settings for data sharing or driving insights, which can usually be limited without disabling the car. The takeaway isn't to drive like you're being graded, but to know that you are. Once you understand the pipeline, the increase stops feeling personal. It feels procedural, and procedures can be reviewed, adjusted, and sometimes declined calmly by informed adults. There's a temptation, when something like this comes into focus, to treat it as proof that the world has gone off the rails. Cars judging you, algorithms keeping score, insurance companies adjusting numbers in ways no one explained. It feels new because it's quiet, not because it's wild. The system didn't suddenly become predatory. It became efficient, and efficiency tends to hide its edges. What's actually changed is the feedback. We used to know when we were being evaluated, with a ticket, a call, or a letter that arrived carrying an explanation and a reason. Telematics removes that explanation layer. The assessment still happens, but the narrative disappears. That gap is where people feel watched instead of informed. Once you see that separation clearly, the temperature drops, because mystery usually creates more anxiety than measurement ever did. This isn't about driving like a monk or second-guessing every brake pedal. It's about understanding where the data lives and who can touch it. That's an ordinary adult skill. We already manage credit reports, bank alerts, passwords, and account permissions without drama or panic. There's also a social layer that's easy to miss. Being a good driver used to be an identity earned through years without incidents. Now it's a profile assembled from fragments like time of day, phone proximity, and acceleration curves, which reflect patterns, not judgment or intent. Patterns are blunt instruments. They work well at scale and awkwardly at the individual level. That's where the light injustice sits, not outrage, absurdity. Swerving around a pothole logs the same as aggressive driving. Late-night grocery runs look like elevated risk. The system isn't accusing you of anything. It's just not listening very carefully. Knowing that helps separate self-worth from the score. The practical response stays simple. Know whether your car or app is sharing data, and know which programs you're enrolled in intentionally or by default. Request your report when something doesn't add up. Turn off what you don't want on, leave on what you do. Then drive the same way you always have, which is usually with competence, caution, and common sense developed over years of actual experience on real roads. What matters is choosing instead of guessing. The difference between being managed and being informed is small but decisive. One feels like surveillance, the other feels like administration, and adults can handle administration without feeling diminished or personally judged by a system. It's also worth noticing how familiar this pattern is. We lived through dial-up tones, spam filters that ate real mail, GPS units insisting on wrong turns, and parallel parking without cameras. Each time, tools improved, habits followed, and perspective eventually caught up. So the move here isn't resistance or resignation. It's alignment. Walk beside the trend instead of chasing it or pretending it isn't there. Keep permissions tidy. Keep expectations realistic. Keep a sense of humor when caution gets mistaken for risk. In the end, the car isn't snitching, it's reporting. The difference is whether you know the report exists. You're still learning.